Hey everyone, it's Brano, and I want to talk about how most gamers don't buy indie games. And I mean this in the extreme sense. Almost no gamers actually buy indie games. And despite you hearing a lot of people that praise indie games, a lot of those people are just really unhappy with the state of AAA gaming, and indie games are a convenient weapon for them to use to bludgeon AAA games online. The majority of people who play games buy 1 to 4 games a year and then go back to their live service game of choice. And the majority of those 1 to 4 games are going to be AAA games and maybe AA games. If you want to know the percentage of the market indie games are actually fighting over, you need to look at this. This is a survey that was done in 2025 asking the frequency of people playing games. And there are maybe 14% of people buy more than 4 games a year. And what you got to understand is that this audience right here, I'm just going to get a tool up. So this, you're not getting this. You are not getting this customer base. This is as far as an indie game is able to reach. And this is slim. Because the majority of the people who buy 1 game a month, what they're looking for is AAA and AA single player experiences, while they need a break from their live service games. This, I would say, is a pretty good, sort of what we think the average gamer is. This is what the average gamer is. So, when it comes down to this 4%, when you realize that this is actually who you're selling to, not this, you need to work out what type of gamers actually exist within this 4% ecosystem. And I've come up with 2 major groups of gamers that end up in this 4%. And the first one is going to be indie game enthusiasts. So the indie game enthusiast is the type of person who churns through games, often without completing them. They buy on sale, they go through them, and they treat games like a night of entertainment, a movie ticket, a single-use consumable more often than not. And what these people really like is simple and easy to understand games that are really easy to get into. They don't have to have a lot of depth, they just have to be very easy to learn and very fun for 1 to 2 hours before they throw it in the trash. So if you want to cater to that group of gamers, you need to make sure that your barrier of entry is as low as possible. That means low price, low difficulty, low-end graphics, easy to complete, and maybe a little bit of replayability if they really like it. You will get those complaints, but I don't actually think that's from this group of gamers. So I am trying to cater to this group of gamers by going into incremental games. I'm gonna see if I can do it. I'm unsure. Because the second audience I know that buys indie games, they are people who are looking for specific niche experiences. So these are people who will typically play a variety of games, but what they're looking for is experiences that they've had with AA or AAA games, and they have this itch that those games just couldn't get. And you are looking to be able to scratch that itch because you understand exactly what they want. And so in order to do this, you have to have an extremely deep understanding of a genre and what it is lacking. So I will give you my example of the game I made, which is Healed to Death. Healed to Death is a single-player roguelike where you play as a healer. So I took MMORPG healing and I put it into a single-player experience, specifically a roguelike dungeon crawler. I had played WoW for years, and I had this itch of it would be nice if I could play a healer game as a single player. And there just weren't a lot of games like that. And so I made it, and I managed to find a small audience that really wanted to play this, and my game became a minor financial success. So that is the benefit of having a hyper niche specific audience that you know you can cater to. Now, the issue with catering to this type of audience is that your game is almost certainly capped at a low percentage of potential players. So your game can never really be mainstream, but the competition is very low, which means as long as you finish the game, it's probably going to be very hard to finish the game because a lot of the sort of low-hanging fruit niches have been covered by now. You will get sales if you manage to advertise your game towards the people who have that same sort of like itch. Now, if you want the mainstream audience, you have to make one of the best games of the year. That means Silksong. That means Slay the Spire 2. And the reality is, this audience doesn't buy indie games. This audience buys Silksong, it buys Slay the Spire, it buys Mugenics. It's probably not going to buy your indie game. It's going to buy one of the best indie games. This is the audience that will actually buy your indie games. I recommend you learn what this indie game audience is, because if you are the average gamer, then you do not understand that you are not your own audience. Anyway, that's it for me. Have a good one, guys. Bye.